But let's go to the cup. Let's go to the last one.
Last one. You're up.
That's on you, Jay.
Lucky last.
Being a good judge of character. Ooh, that was different.
Yeah, I'll start that off.
Yeah.
I think, again, in the context of owning a business or starting a business and anything, I think you have to be a good judge of character. Not to be biblical, but they said Jesus knew who was at the table with him, right? He knew Judas was going to kiss him on the cheek before it even happened, right? So I think ultimately, what it comes down to is whatever you're doing, you got to know the people you're dealing with. I think sometimes you have to deal with people that are going to be your hater or the person that's going to tell you things that you're not going to want to hear because they're actually going to help you tighten up certain things you might have not tightened up from before, right? I also think it's good to understand what people's strengths, weaknesses are. Like I heard French Montana say something a couple of days ago. It was a good point. He's like, listen, sometimes you might have a friend or a boy or somebody that's close to you and you go, I want to bring this guy with me. And I know all I talk to you about is basketball. I can't get mad at you when I said I want you to be my head of merchandise and all I talk to you about is basketball. You don't know nothing about merchandise. So I look crazy trying to get you to do something and then you fail me and I go, well, fuck, I can't do anything with this dude. But it's like, no, that person is just there for that. So you bring them along the ride just for that. So he was talking about, characteristics and it took him a long time to realize. 50 talked about it too. He was so disappointed with Lloyd Banks and Yayo because they didn't elevate to where he's at. But it's like, they don't want that. They didn't want the success that you have, right? So understanding personnel, I think, is huge, and understanding character of people, like, then you can't really get hurt, I don't think, in my opinion. And things that I've done in the past, anytime I've done something, friends or not, and I go, okay, this is what we want to do, execution-wise, X, Y, and Z, you handle this. I've been hurt in times where I'm like, fuck, I told this person to do this, and they just didn't do it. But then when I really broke it down, I shouldn't have told that person to do it, because that's not who they are, right? Yeah. So I think it's very important to be a judge of character in anything you're kind of doing and understand what you can own out of it,
This is so crazy because I was thinking about something very similar to this because I had a talk with a shorty about this not too long ago. I feel like on the basic level, you could kind of figure out if somebody has good character. It doesn't take too long to figure out if somebody has at least the foundation of being a person with high character. But for me, as an individual, I actually do not expect loyalty out of nobody. I actually don't believe in it.
That's deep.
I don't believe in it. And the reason why
Until they prove it to you or just in general?
No, just in general.
You don't feel that you're being let down?
No, not even that. I feel like as human beings, I understand human nature, and I understand everybody's going to look out for themselves.
Right.
And for me, if I do good for somebody, God has blessed me and put me in the position to be the vessel to do good for somebody. They don't owe me nothing. Right. That's all his. They don't owe me nothing.
Right.
So I don't expect loyalty from nobody. I expect a conversation. I expect understanding. And I'm going to be understanding vice versa. But like I tell guys on my team all the time, I don't expect you to stay here. I really don't. If you are my CFO, if you are my VP, if you are my director of sales, if you run some of the subsids, I don't expect that if another opportunity came about because of where we're going, that if Microsoft calls you or if friggin' Amazon calls you and you get a good position, I don't expect you to stay.
Right.
I would say, hey, you know what? I'm going to wish you the best, but this is going to be what this is, and it's always going to stay like that. I'm always going to love you, and it's always going to stay like that. You don't owe me your loyalty.
Right.
The only thing we have is just an understanding.
Right.
And for me, it's like, as crazy as it is when you play the game like that, it just so happens that people are loyal to you.
Right.
Because they know, like, you're not gonna get mad at me regardless. I'm a free individual. You see what I'm saying? It's like I told my ex, I was like, bro, I don't expect you to stay loyal to me. If you want to do what you want to do, you gonna do it regardless.
Right.
I can't stop you. I just expect a conversation.
No, 100%. I agree.
Yeah, character is an interesting one. I think it's important in business to understand, to judge good character, and I think pretty quickly you can recognize that very quick. Like I think it's quickly, but I think one of the most important things is if you have trust. If we're talking from a relationship standpoint, I look at character as trust. Do you trust this person? Do you trust them with your customers as well? And if you can have that autonomy, I think, and especially in this world that we live now where everything and everyone is so isolated, how deep do you have of a trust with those people that you work with as well? And I think the character is also built within that trust as well. And I think as we've gone through this past year and a half now as well, you've seen people's true characters come through.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Oh yeah.
100%. I think again, it's a thing where, you know, once you understand, like, where you're at personally, and as you were saying, what you can kind of take out of a relationship or an interaction with somebody, and the way in which you're gonna deal with that, I think is very important because, you know, you could end up, like you said, getting too invested, and then the person, like you said, might walk away. And I think if you're running anything or anything you're doing, you should always be ready to have somebody say, you know what, I'm not gonna do that anymore.
And here's the thing, like I almost kind of expected it
Yeah.
because I believe that if you're around, like, bruh, I remember when I first opened up my store and I had 3 employees in there and I was like, fuck, these guys aren't gonna be employees in like 6 months. Bruh, I swear to you, after they left that job, they never worked the job again. Because they were just around us so much that it was like, I knew they were going to be entrepreneurs. They were hearing all the game. They were seeing everything. I knew it. To this day, I look at one of my guys and I still talk to him all the time. Like, he's still one of the guys, like, we're still doing business together. And I believe that just because somebody doesn't do business with you in that sense, that doesn't mean you stop doing business. If you're building a book of business, like everybody in network marketing till this day, since we left 10 years ago, I could call any one of them and there's still a respect factor there. Why? Because I never held them to nothing.
Right.
I was always like, yo, I'm going to be true to you because that's our relationship. Business aside, that's just what it's going to be. But
And I think ultimately, you know, we hear it all the time, you know, does a man really want to be answering to another man? No, I don't think, it doesn't matter, even though you have to do it. Ultimately, as you said, when you're empowering somebody on a day-to-day basis, you're talking to them, you're giving them game, you're telling them exactly what you're doing, what's happening. Eventually, you're also giving them, you're almost empowering them as well in the same breath.
Yeah.
So as you're doing that, they're becoming more confident. They're like, well, if you could do it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
you literally see the elevation happen. You
Right.
see them talk to you and be like, yo, boss, let me run that.
Right.
Be like, yeah,
Right.
Then they start doing that. You're like, yeah, you're doing that a little nice. Like, then they run in the whole thing, and you're like, shit, fuck.
But then sometimes,
you know?
sometimes they hit a point where they go, yo, like, I'm doing all this stuff, and this guy's not really doing anything. And it's like, yo, like, I could be doing this myself. And I think all of that starts to come in and settle in for themselves.
But here's the thing that I realized I learned a long time ago. If you are the boss of your circle and in the next circle, you're a servant in that space.
Right.
So like,
Yeah.
for me, I could relate to my immediate circle being okay, being all right, or being the guy that most people come to for information. I have other groups where I'm literally the water boy. You understand?
Right.
What I'm saying? Like,
Right.
what do you need? You
Right.
feel me? I'm always there to serve.
Right.
So as a leader, you have to. A leader's always a good server.
Yeah.
And like, coming from the standpoint of being a servant leader, even to your team, to understand that, yo, I'm going to serve you guys as well. Like, that's just the nature of being a really good leader. You got to be able to have that servant.
I think that's a hard trait for a lot of people. That's why you
It
don't
is.
find. That's why they call it the 1%ers. There's not a lot of people
Naturally.
that can do that.
Yeah,
You know what I
naturally,
mean?
people aren't inclined in that way, right? It's
Yeah.
a skill you learn over years and years in leadership.
It's crazy. My mentor has 3 mentors. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, think about how
Listen,
crazy that is.
I
The
can
guy
do it.
you go for information had 3 guys that he goes to,
Yeah.
and they have mentors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
I got 2 mentors too that I talk to all the time about anything I want to do business wise, and they give me game. But it's like, then when I ask them about people they talk to, give them game. So it's like it's a pass down of information.
Yeah.
But again, it's a small circle, and the higher you go up, the more success you have. You realize the more lonely it is, and it's hard to find people on the same wavelength where you can have these discussions with. You know what I mean? And I think when you really start to again assess the character of the individual you're talking to, you put them in a place that makes sense for the conversation that you have with them. You know what I mean? Because that space is the space that they need to be in. And you don't, like you said, you don't end up going, you know what, you're kind of disappointed. I didn't think you would be like that or do that, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
no, but I was good,
Good
man.
topic.
Another good wrap up on CEO, you know. Junior, anything you want to shout out Alpha Pack wise? You want us to tell us the social medias, anything we should look for?
Follow the paper page, alphasoft.paper, Alpha Coin Network coming out real soon.
Right.
And yeah, we're just excited to really do some things in this year.
Right. Chris, anything you want to shout out?
Well, once the world opens up a little bit more, if you ever need some corporate travel services, certainly look us up at Corporate Traveler, and of course any of your leisure needs as well. I'm sure everyone's dying for a vacation somewhere warm would be nice. So look me up, hit me up. But thanks for
private?
Yeah, private. Let's do it.
So ultimately, again, I just want to thank you again for another episode of CEO. Hit the subscribe button.
Yeah,
This
hit
is
the
Mr.
subscribe.
Nocturnal TV all day for all categories, everything you're looking for. We have it. Stay tuned.
Tune in.
Stay tuned.
Skirt.